All right, this is our recipe for tomato cream sauce. We've got our onion, which I used half instead of a whole. We've got garlic. We have our heavy cream and butter. We have our olive oil. We have Italian seasonings in place of basil and oregano. That was just what I had on hand. And then we have our salt, pepper, sugar, and our diced tomatoes not drained, just the whole can goes in. All right, so you're gonna start off by getting a pan nice and warm and putting in your olive oil. And I time-lapsed this quite a bit for you guys just because, it would have been quite boring to watch me saute onions and garlic for 10 minutes, but that's about how long it took to get them to the consistency that I wanted, and just to let them release the flavors and kind of caramelize so that they don't taste like raw garlic and onion in the sauce. And again, like I said, I used half an onion because my onion was really big and I didn't want a super oniony sauce. So I used half of a large onion, and I used 2 small garlic cloves instead of 1 large garlic clove. The thing you want to be really careful here is just to watch your temperature so you don't burn it. So we're simmering them. We are literally reducing them down. And again, that was about 10 minutes of a time lapse that I did there. So 10 minutes of cooking the garlic and onion before you add the diced tomatoes and the herbs and the seasonings, which is salt, pepper, and sugar. Sugar is pretty important in this recipe. It really helps kind of balance out the acidity of the tomatoes and just gives it a little bit more flavor. And it works really well with the heavy cream at the end. All right, so again, the objective here is just to simmer until we get some liquid out of those tomatoes, and then that liquid reduces down or evaporates. Again, I time-lapsed, that was about 5 minutes. Then we turn the temperature off, we turn the heat off, and we add our tablespoon of butter. And as soon as that butter is melted, again, this is no heat at all right now. As soon as that butter is melted, go ahead and add your half cup of heavy cream. I would definitely use heavy cream for this rather than just traditional whipping cream. The heavy cream has a higher fat content and it makes the sauce thicker. And it actually makes it taste better too. All right, so you're just gonna mix that in until it's incorporated. And you start to see more of like a rose color come through with the marriage of the cream and the tomatoes. And then my recommendation is to either take the sauce and put it in a blender to make it nice and smooth, or if you have one of these really cool gadgets, this is called an immersion blender or a stick blender, and it allows you to mix stuff up in the pot or the vessel that you're cooking in. I love my immersion blender. I didn't have one until I was much older, and just realized how much I would use it. This one's really nice, and it's electric, and so you got to kind of watch the cord, and then you also need to make sure that you tip or tilt the pan so that the whole head of the immersion blender is covered. Otherwise it will splatter everywhere. Your sauce will splatter everywhere. I don't want the chunks of tomatoes and onions and garlic in my sauce. I want a more smooth sauce, so that's why I definitely recommend blending this up. So I'm gonna do that and then show you my sauce with the finished product of the homemade pasta. You could use any pasta that you want. You could add protein if you want to add protein. Pour this over chicken or shrimp with your pasta. Either of those would be excellent. This sauce has so much flavor. I honestly love it. It's one of my favorite types of sauce with pasta. I hope you enjoy. And if you have a chance, if you didn't do it today, totally fine. But if you have a chance to make homemade pasta someday, definitely do it. It's definitely worth the labor. And it makes this sauce taste really, really good.